to get opening. They've got some draft picks. So I think they will be able to get help in the middle. I think they will be able to bring in some green blue wings, red guys who can defend better than what they have on the court right now. And we're going to have to see what that team is before you can start making comparisons. And even then, I would say the first year with the guys over there, you're not going to have Kyrie much.
That's my girl. That is my girl. Real quick, because that was a great take. I was going to put a little something on that.
Please.
And everyone's getting that coach. He don't get better. Well, y'all know about JJ Redick, man. He might be a little arrogant sometimes, like this, but he a worker.
This isn't just a restoration. It's a fight. Because you have this value of making space for others. This is your way. Miguel, the marker of fighting.
I watched him as a player. He was a superstar in college. He was a good player in the pros, but he was good to still start. You know what I'm saying? I watched him on TV. Started out a little shaky, then really on TV. Then I say as a head coach, he's brilliant because that's who he is. I just think you got Luka, you can start building a roster. And the superstar thing matters.
Leading his team to a 3-1 series lead over the once-it task. He and the Pacers now have a chance to close it out tonight and move on to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second straight season. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards and the Wolves have the Warriors on the brink of elimination after a 30-point lead going into Game 4, 3-1. The Wolves can also move on to their second consecutive conference championship if they close it out Thursday. Wendy, I'm coming to you, my friend. Is Tyrese Halliburton or Anthony Edwards more likely to get their first ring?
Well, this is not a commentary on the two players. It's a commentary on the pathway. All right? Because a couple of weeks ago, I would have thought the Pacers would have had one of the toughest pathways to win the championship of any team in the league. Because they were going to have to play the Cavs without home court advantage. And then I'll admit, I made
Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog.
And then they could the Pacers winning the West, or the West is going to be tough to the bottom. Maybe it is.
Superman the rabbit.
I thought it was going to be. I would have probably said a different answer, but now
who the heck is that? And why is the game?
Both teams in the East. And that's all due respect to the They're playing better than everybody. Halliburton, I say he might be on the championship team that has a pathway that's opening up. They're all playing the Cavs first off, but the Cavs have also had injuries. And now you're looking at either a mixed team that's going to have a much shorter bench than the Pacers. Or you're looking at a Celtics team that makes some miraculous comebacks probably without Jason Tatum that will have been exhausted. So, it's just based on the circumstances, I'm going with Halliburton.
I'm going with Ant-Man, really. I got to go with Ant-Man on this. And what I see in these playoffs, as I watched Minnesota play, I saw the evolution of Ant-Man in the first round. With the double teams and playing the right way, getting in the paint, and people come and make the right move and make the right place. And in the second round, I see the evolution of Julius Randle. And I think Ant-Man has really unlocked Julius Randle to be his best version. So if I'm looking at this team, I'm saying...
You're 77.
Also, 6 of the last 7 teams that have played in the championship have been teams that have beat Jimmy Butler. And the team that is, I have been on the other side of that. So I have pride in you as those teams have won the championship. So I think if Minnesota is able to get this done, I feel like they have an opportunity, and they have all the pieces. They have Williams and Daniel. They have with the Randall. They have Ant-Man, and also Reeves and Harry. You have to give them this flower because people got people so much fun in the last year. That shot. This year in the LA series, he was solid. On the side, he beat him up on the glass when he had an opportunity to play in the game. He got offensive rebounds and extra possession. So I just think right now this team is firing also. Just because of the opportunity he plays with and the style in which he plays. I just think the Western Conference is so hard. That would be the only thing that will probably hinder me involved in there because of how good OKC is. And I think that the Knicks are really good too. I think that the pathway for Halliburton, both teams, if they're able to get to the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals. I just think being in the Eastern Conference probably opens the opportunity up more for him as opposed to Ant-Man in the Western Conference. But look, you got two challenges for both. But I have to give a slight edge to Tyrese just because of the way he plays and how he interacts.
First, I want to stay in the East, guys. We haven't talked about Philly because the Sixers have been one of the most disappointing teams this season, due in large part, obviously, to injuries. To the president of basketball operations, Daryl Morey, spoke on the potential.
No!
If Joel comes back, it's going to be at a very high level. I actually don't see a scenario where he's fading. I understand that wasn't his best year. My point is different, though. My point is I see him playing at a high level, and that's so important to him that he will either get himself there or not. That's my feeling. I think he views himself correctly as an MVP level guy. J-Well, are you buying this?
Nobody questions whether Joel Embiid can come back at a high level. Two-time scoring champ, the MVP, of course he's going to come back at a high level. Can he sustain the high level is the main point that Daryl Morey did not confront. And not news thing that he just said. And I quote, so look, I know he got played 50% of his regular season games.
Come to business market, save hundreds of dollars by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check your outfit first before reading Allstate's family.
What do you say, mommy?
So check Allstate first. Roadblock is saving hundreds.
Just think about that. 50% of his regular season games.
Bro, no. I'm
Regular
not getting
season.
pushed.
So
Huh? I'm Superman.
Nobody questions.
I'm Superman, Daddy. I'm Superman.
We always talk about Jokic, talk about maybe being the best player in the game.
I've been winning all
Possibly
Bro?
Okay. But it's always about if
Wait,
Joel
I'm about to
Embiid
say.
will. That's it. That's what this comes down to. Sustaining an MVP level of play.
I'm fine.
And remaining
I'm trying to win this game. I'm trying to stay
issues that you have to sustain. Yeah, we're going to be never about what he does on the basketball court. It's what he does off the basketball court. At this stage of the game, when you get to the NBA, it is a lifestyle. It is this 24/7, 7 days a week job.
No, bro.
Everybody is watching. You're the best player on the team. Whether you want it to be or not, that makes you someone sort of elite. And you have to have habits. And this is all about building these habits. What if you're doing in the summer? Is he doing this as possible? Is he taking...
If he come to the gauntlet, maybe it is that.
In the Pacers now have a chance to close out tonight, move on to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second straight season. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards and the Wolves have the Warriors on the brink of elimination after his 30-point performance in Game 4 of 3-1. The Wolves can also move on to their second consecutive conference championship as they close it out Thursday. Wendy, I'm coming in, my friend. It's Tyrese Halliburton. First ring.
Well, this is not a commentary on the two players. It's a commentary on the package. All right? Because a couple of weeks ago, I would have thought the Pacers would have had one of the toughest pathways to win the championship of any team in the league. Because they were going to play the Cavs without home court advantage. And then, I'll admit, I made the assumption that the Celtics were going to win, and then they would have to Celtics, then they potentially have to face the winner. Who wins the West is going to be come to the gauntlet.
Daddy.
It is and it is. So I thought it was going to be. I would have probably said a different answer, but now I see the.
I was so close to winning.
The best out of
I
all
was
teams
so
in the
close
league.
to
And
winning.
that's all due respect to the Knicks.
Why are we doing that again?
Everybody. So I look
Sure.
at, Halliburton, I say he might be on a championship team that has a pathway that's opening up. They got to, they're all playing the Cavs, first off, but the Cavs have also had injury issues, and now you're looking at either a Knicks team that is going to have a much shorter bench than the Pacers, or you're looking at a Celtics team that makes some miraculous comebacks without probably Jason exhausted. So it's just about based on their circumstances. I'm going with Halliburton. I'm going.
Punch me. You gotta punch them. I can't punch you. Yeah.
I saw the evolution happening in the first round with the double teams and playing the right way, getting in the paint, and people trying to make the right move.
So who are you? I'm Superman.
I think Superman has really unlocked Julius Randle to be his best version. So if I'm looking at this team, I'm saying I gotta go with him. And also, 6 of the 17 that have played in the championship have been teams that have beat Jimmy Butler. And the team that he was on, I have been on the other side of that. So, as those teams have won the championship. So I think that Minnesota is going to get this done. I feel like they have an opportunity.
Bro, what did you
know, with the Randall, they have Ant-Man. And also, you know that you have to give him this guy because he was the guy who created so much fun out last year.
We got one.
This year in the LA series, he was solid. On the Sweepers, he was solid. He beat him up on the glass, and he had an opportunity to play in the game. He got offensive rebound, the extra. So I just think right now the team is firing him also. Part of me wants to agree with you and say just because of the
James can play like ass.
Huh?
I'm just the Western Conference is so hard. That would be the only thing.
Huh?
That nigga has good series in the Lakers series, of course.
Because of how good OKC is. Now, the Knicks are really good. Halfway for Halliburton, you know, both teams are able to get to the Eastern Conference.
Honestly, you only have 2 good games in LA.
It would be difficult. I think being it's probably open to the opportunity more for him as opposed to being in the Western Conference. I'm not good for both.
But just because you lost, that don't mean you're not good, nigga. What are you talking about?
I want to stay in the East, guys. We haven't talked about Philly because the Sixers have won one
You
of
gotta
the
keep
most
playing.
teams this season, due in large part, obviously, to injuries.
You didn't play this game in a while.
Daryl Morey spoke on his potential return, saying this, quote, if Joel comes back, it's going to be at a very high level. I actually don't see a scenario where he's fading. I understand that wasn't his best year. My point is different, though. My point is I see him playing at a high level, and that's so important to him that he will either get himself there or not. That's my feeling. I think he views himself correctly as an MVP level guy. J-Lo, are you buying this? I think he views himself correctly as an MVP level guy. J-Lo, are you buying this?
He has a gun?
Joel Embiid can come back at a high level.
Yeah, the agent.
Top scoring team, the MVP. Of course he's going to come back at a high level. Can he sustain the high level is the main point that Daryl Morey.
The new McCrispy Strip is here. They've approved by ketchup and barbecue. What's the funniest right? With all the Big Mac sauce, double dipped in buffalo and ranch. More ranch.
Is that on the chair?
Any chewy McCrispy Strip.
Chocolate milk?
The Dallas Mavericks smooth fashion to non-constrained
Peanut butter chocolate smoothie. Peanut butter chocolate smoothie.
With the #1 pick, the
Protein.
victory in the lottery comes only 3 days after Dallas traded Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers in February, a move that
Why we always do?
spread criticism from the fan base. The Mavs won that lottery with a 1.8% chance to win. That's the 4th most odds to win these lotteries since 1985 when it began. Dallas jumped 10 spots to win it. The biggest jump by any team since the NBA changed the format in 2019. Also reaction here from Dallas' front office.
Chocolate.
Bro, I keep falling!
CJ ain't say nothing. Stop playing with me, boy. No matter.
I think no.
Nigga, cheesecake.
I mean,
You'll
talk
teach it.
about a lot in terms of a match. Do you feel like Mavs fans should feel a little differently about Nico Harrison?
He's damn right. He's damn right. Because people were wondering, does he hold on to this pick? And what do Nico do with that? Nico still strong.
No!
You know what I mean?
I'll try going.
Let me explain something to you. When you talking about a guy like Cooper Flag, first of all, this is how you turn booze into cheers. That's number one. But when you're talking about Cooper Flag, you're talking about a different type of competitor. Right? Like everyone in the league is a competitor because you don't get to the NBA without competing. Well, when I'm talking about a different level of competition and competing, I'm looking at this, man. I'm talking about like KG type competing. And when I say that is that he don't like to lose at nothing. Everything he does is a competition. In the weight room, it's a competition. Molly, you DJ Will. One of my best friends is an assistant college coach. Right now, he's at Arizona. He was at Texas last year. He went and looked at Cooper Flag, and he went to a few of his practices when he was in high school 2 years ago. And he said, man, everybody was blown away about his practice and not because of the scrimmage. I said, what? He was like, when it was time for them to line up and it was time for them to run suicides,
It was a competition with first down and back, first down and back. And it's not a front. He wasn't a front. This is who he is. So when you get a guy that's 6'8", 6'9", a complete that got a hot loader that's going to come in and punch on the clock, take pride in defending, we know what he's going to bring on the offensive end. And your future's looking bright. It's a Madison feeling great about Nico Harrison on the Dallas Mavericks. That might be a crooked flag.
I preface this by saying I love Nico. I've known Nico since I've been 16 years old. I think there is a difference between what we know about things insiders, about things that actually happen on a day-to-day basis, and our reality and our context with that, as opposed to the fan base that is in love with it. So my answer to you, Kirk, would be no. I don't think the fans should feel any differently about Nico at all until he wins. You have to win the World Championship. You're giving yourself a window of 2 to 4 years. And think about this, Big Kirk, too, right? It's not just about the trade of Luka, that first Luka. It's also the ROI, the returns on investment. You're trading him for AD, Max Christie, in the first round draft pick. We just watched the Cavaliers get traded for 5 first round picks in the Cavaliers, right? So the value was off. And also, it's the fact that there's a 1.8% chance that they got the first pick in the draft. There is a huge element of luck, and I give Adam Silver all the credit in the world for how he's been able to do the draft lottery. And I think the NFL should take a page out of this book and how they should do it for their league as well. But there is so much luck that goes into that. Great for Dallas, that got it. But now that you've got it, what are you going to do with it? You think they're going to keep Cooper Flag? I can make an argument that maybe they should trade Cooper Flag for a guy like
No, you wasn't, nigga. No, you was not better than me, bro. I was winning every game.
That was a bold move, my man. And now they have to back it up.
Better than you, mommy, mommy.
I think for me, they should definitely stay on it. You also traded the guy who led the playoffs last year in scoring, rebounding, and assists. When he cures everything and as talented as Cooper Flag is, we do not know. There's only time will tell with that. So what I will say is, there are 3 teams that did what Nico was able to do last night. The Orlando Magic had a 1.7% chance at 93. They ended up getting the Bulls had Derek Rose in 2008, who was the MVP Ellis. In 2014, the Cleveland Cavaliers had Nick. They traded out for Kevin Love, and they ended up with the championship. So with that being said, there is hope for Nico. But he has to win, and I have to call it into a winning situation for him. I'm not just going to give him that because his ass got lucky and got the number 1 pick.
You just failed, Daddy. You failed. No, you play.
Before the draft lottery,
You play.
I would agree with both of
You
you.
play.
That the window for him to win the championship in the next 2 to 3 years, that he has to win the championship in the next 2 to 3 years. But after you get Cooper Flag, you go to the NBA draft lottery and you walk out of there with Cooper Flag, no, your franchise is set, and I'm not trading. I'm not trading my number 1 pick for Giannis. I'm not doing that if I'm Nico. No, you not spend, and tell me this.
7.
You were off deep on this camera. Watch me Flag up close and personal.
Yeah,
More than anybody, any one of them.
That's the thing. It's your share back, you know? If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card. Possibility. You can experience unlimited of
Can I do something? I know. What the heck? What is the one doing?
Molly, I worked.
Nah, I got carrots.
I was in the field last night. You know, if I look a little sleepy,
You got it, buddy.
I got in at 1:30.
What are her
I
doing?
was in Chicago working the
What he
lottery last
doing?
night.
What are her doing? Why her?
Why to like the last 4 teams? Man, I'm telling you, GMs was in there like,
We finally have him now.
the game changer this young man is. And he's going to be right. You have to be around him to feel his
Why do he have the X?
mentality.
Why do he have the X?
The Dallas Mavericks
like Superman.
great
Huh?
position.
Because he likes
They'll
Superman.
set up short term.
Yeah,
And they say
Superman.
they'll set up
This
long
is
term.
Superman.
And again,
Yeah, he just likes Superman.
Why?
He wants to be like him.
He wants to be like him, so that's why he's big.
until you see him fully healthy,
He's bigger than Superman.
because one could argue that AD and Kyrie, both of those guys,
Who's this?
Black
PJ
Adam.
Washington.
That's to happen, right? This is Beetlejuice. This is Supergirl. That's Wonder Woman. That's Wonder Woman. Daddy, that's Wonder Woman. That's my favorite.
Rachel.
That's my favorite. Rachel.
Rachel.
Daddy, look.
Yeah, you respect AD for coming back this season despite the math. Slim chances of making the playoffs.
Who? Uncle.
Go out there and play and
Uncle Man, nigga. That's Aquaman. Who the fuck is Uncle Man, nigga? Who the hell is Uncle Man, huh? Why you make that up, nigga? Why you make that up, nigga? Huh? Uncle Man, nigga? Why you make that up? Where you going, nigga? Uncle Man. Call me. Why you make that up, bro? Uncle Man. Why you leave me? Why you leave me? Uncle Man. Come on, nigga. Uncle Robot, nigga.
Uncle Robot. Uncle Robot. Uncle Robot.
Powerpuff Girls. Who the Powerpuff Girls, nigga? Huh? Powerpuff Girls? Powerpuff Girls?
I'm Uncle Man.
10 seconds until
I'm Uncle Man Robot. Uncle Man Robot. Red Bug.
That's Uncle Man, nigga. Shut Are you going? Where you going?
Let me try the game. I'm Malcolm. Yeah. Right. What? I'm Daddy, come on, just wait to get. Says 5, 4, 3, 2.
Cameron's on a team that is on Giannis richly.
What?
Like, he's not trying to get down the...
Do you respect AD for coming back this season despite the slim chances of
A punch sandwich.
player that wants to go out there?
Pie sandwich. I'm ultimate. Yeah. Ultimate to do this.
Especially get hurt again, not smart. Even if he plays healthy all the way through the season, what would be the prize take you out of the lottery? Right now, you're a lottery team with AD on your team, with Clay on your team, with Kyrie on your team. So if you got the 3rd pick in the NBA draft, you're saying that's not worth sitting AD for? You would go around, get the 3rd pick, and Bailey's there. And you're talking about adding that type of player to that roster, starting or coming off the bench. That is a very good move. Do you respect AD for coming back this season?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I respect any player that wants to go out there and play and give it his all, but is it a smart move? I mean, bringing him back to potentially get hurt again, not smart. Even if he plays healthy all the way through the season, what would he do besides taking out of the lottery? On your team, with Clay on your team, with Kyrie on your team. So if you got the 3rd pick in the NBA draft, you're saying that's not what you go around get.
I win. Me and Joker win. Press yes. Yes. Bro. Oh.
6 foot.
I'll take this like bunny.
I don't think anybody's going to agree on it. I think Kyrie going to be the best basketball player.
Ultimate, guys. Daddy.
Every beat is... How many times you got?
Me and Joker.
Oh, just one.
Me and Joker win. I won't play. Oh,
How many times you got?
Michael.
Dallas. I'm
Very bad.
gonna tell you this.
Give me to go.
Dallas can control.
We win.
Hey guys, sit
So me.
Prepare yourself.
Like you bozos could get rid of me that easily.
Match point. Red team.
Bitch,
want to pick another
race. Like when you locked up over there, I think it don't really have nothing to do with gangs. When you get to a certain point of jail, it's more or less like race. So
That's not. That came before tip-off of the first game of the night. You're seeing there with
Can I pick another person?
Dallas Mavericks celebrating the impossible.
I can't
The
pick.
Mavericks, who this
I would
year
pick
Luka Doncic away,
ugly.
won the night in resounding fashion. They had a 1.8% chance to win the draft lottery and thus the right to this year traded Luka Doncic away. Won the night in resounding fashion. They had a 1.8% chance
I
to win the
pick
draft
him.
lottery and thus the right to select Cooper Flag with the #1 pick
Daddy,
in the upcoming NBA
I'll
draft.
pick
The
Batman.
1.8% was the fourth lowest odds
He's
to win the
low,
lottery
but
since it
I'll pick
began
him
in
still.
'85. Dallas jumped 10 spots to win the biggest jump by any team.
Yes,
Back in
pick.
2015,
Huh?
6
Wait.
years ago. The unlikely victory in the lottery comes again 3 months after one of the most controversial trades of all time. This
Can't
was
get
the
that.
reaction from the Mavericks front office when it happened.
Can't get that one either, buddy.
Quality. I think I would pick.
Probably forever.
We have. Wait, let's go up there.
To say the very least, and you were telling a great story this morning. Those of us who go back.
Dad, he's not close.
When the Knicks got Patrick Ewing, and they showed it last night. David
He's not close.
standing up in 1985
was the anniversary of that.
And it was that was actually a great draft. The draft had Chris Mullin and a bunch of other
Dad,
guys.
that's
But
me.
one way or another, you were telling a great story.
With chocolate hair on it.
Commissioner David Stern.
Well,
I was doing a story
too.
about that lottery, and I asked David Stern about that moment. I said, "What were you thinking when the placard came out?"
Dad, that's me.
Ten seconds until the match begins.
They're going to wonder, how did I do it?
Yes, because it wasn't Twitter. Last night, it didn't take very long for those conversations to begin. And I will tell a funny story. Yesterday,
It's still the Sonic.
meeting.
Oh, snap.
Let's talk about what might happen if Dallas wins the lottery tonight. And they said, to get into that, they have 1.8%. Why would you waste the audience's time talking about something that absolutely cannot happen? And of course, it did.
I know it's going to be controversial. But I'm Nico Harrison. I'm trading the pick.
Me and my child.
I'm not sure for a guy like Cooper Flag. I think he needs reps. I think he needs a lot of room to grow. I'm not sure a championship aspiration is right away for him. Now look, the basketball part of me loves it all. AD, Cooper Flag, Derek Blackley in the backcourt, right? But when I look at the value, could you potentially package him like this to get a Giannis? Could you package in a one-on-one trade to get a Devin Booker? Could you get a Tyrese Maxey? If your championship window is in 2 to 3 years, could you utilize that pick as an assets to get somebody who's ready to contribute to you right now with the pressure in the West Coast?
What are you drinking? What do you got? What are you drinking this morning? You want them to burn the building down? This is a gift from the basketball gods. Yeah, traded Luka Doncic, you get a player in Cooper Flag who can replace that as the son that these fans can fall back in love with.
Strongman, Super Tournament, Sandwich.
Is you trade him because you are trying to advance the cause. He's going to be part of the cause for maybe the next 10 to 15 years.
What we're not going to do is give Nico false hope.
Whoa, Daddy! Don't win! Daddy, that's me with my dad. Daddy!
So they need to move.
Daddy, that's me with my dad.
You have Caleb Martin. You just paid Najee Marshall. You have pieces to move and play. So
I'm sad, Daddy, like there.
Nico, they bought you a little time with that.
Yeah. I know. You have to be reasonable and just see what the market can offer you for somebody like Cooper Flag. And look, I think Cooper Flag is a hell of a player. He's a two-way player, actually. I think he can fit with Dallas very well. I just wonder if he can give it to you right now because your window's short.
They can't pick another person.
Irving is going to miss most of next season.
Can't pick another person.
Be next season. It might be 2 seasons from now, which is when he'll have a year experience under his belt. Your mentality is what the Detroit Pistons passed on Carmelo Anthony. They thought they were in a Detroit Pistons. I'm just saying, they were in the empty window. They didn't think that was the right kind of fit. They wanted to get a big man. How'd that work out? They got Andrew Wiggins and they got Kevin Love. They won a championship.
They definitely won a championship. And they had a 1.7% chance of winning the lot.
Okay, they got you need bringing stats.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. You need to do this homework.
The coin.
Is it within the span of 5 months? The Dallas Mavericks should trade
you can't even get it out. Luka Doncic and Cooper Flag. Wait, I was never going to be trading away Luka Doncic. See, Nico saw something that he didn't. But I am offering a suggestion of looking at trade.
Daddy, can I pick another person? Daddy.
I could just for Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag straight up for Giannis. Who says no?
I say no.
Ain't nobody saying no. Ain't nobody. Nico, you're saying no.
No, you can't.
You're saying no.
Yes.
Time out.
Yes.
I don't want to.
I'm talking about a franchise for the next 10 to 15 years.
Daddy,
That's what I'm looking at. A player who is a generational talent. Now, Giannis obviously is MVP, but I am talking about something that goes beyond a smaller window. He's over 30. He's a great player. It doesn't guarantee you anything because Davis's injury history, Kyrie's still out. I need to know that I've got a piece that I just gave away. I've got a piece back that I can say, you know what, I believe in him more than I believe in Luka. This guy's going to be our guy for the next 10 to 15 years.
You're getting a piece back. You're getting a guy who's won in a small market.
Hit the wall box.
He's done it by himself.
Daddy, I picked the wall box. Daddy, that's me.
Hold you accountable. Giannis, generational player.
Yes.
LeBron, generational player. KD, generational player. Are you saying Cooper Flag is going to be one of those three?
Yeah, I gotta believe that.
But I'm not sure about the effect of what was one of the most transformational nights in recent NBA memory, and this was the most surprising moment for the Mavericks.
What just happened?
Concentrated, resounding fashion, winning the lottery, and thus the right to select Cooper Flag. They had a 1.8% chance to win it. They jumped 10 spots to grab that pick. And so the question, Brian Windhorst, is how does this affect the future of Giannis?
When you need a crispy strip is here, take a fruit, buy ketchup, honey, barbecue, honey, mustard, honey, sticks, right? Funny, Big Mac sauce, double dipped in buffalo and ranch, more ranch, and creamy chicken with crispy strip dip.
As NBA fans were reacting to crazy turn of events that had the Dallas Mavericks winning the draft lottery, league executives started to ask the question, did the Mavericks actually trade Luka Doncic and the rights to Cooper Flag in the same year? That's the kind of questions that are going to go around the league as Austin Cooper tries to figure out his future. In the fallout of the lottery, we've had several top teams improve their assets, especially the Mavericks, and keep an eye on the San Antonio Spurs. Getting the number 2 pick in the draft, coming off getting the 3 or 4 pick over the next couple of years, leaves them in position. But the first move is going to be Giannis. We're going to keep an eye on that over the coming weeks.
Oh, man.
So that's the win before us last night. We brought this up earlier today. And the reality of it is, there's the basketball part, and then there's the
I don't know, the zeitgeist part. Like the idea of trading both Luka Doncic and Cooper Flag, who people are so excited about, who we hope can turn into a great player. It seems insane to consider doing those two things in a 4-month stretch. But the reality is, if Cooper Flag maximizes everything he might potentially be, maybe he gets to be close to as good as Giannis. And I'll remind everybody, let me put some full screens up here. I put up D13. Giannis has averaged 30 points, 10 rebounds.
But there is like an illusion that this is kind of a rigged operation for people. Why would it be for the Dallas Mavericks in your eyes? And why do you think the Dallas Mavericks, why do you think people think the Dallas Mavericks got this? Just because Nico traded away Luka for the good of the NBA? Is that kind of what the conspiracy is?
Yeah, I don't believe any of that. I think
that's me.
You know, they had the 1.8% chance. This happened before several times. So, yeah, I know what people may think that and conspiracy things, but that could be further from the truth.
Yeah. Cooper Flag, guaranteed #1 overall pick, is kind of what everybody's saying. How do you view him as an NBA prospect? And what are your thoughts on people saying maybe the Mavs trade this #1 overall pick to get another megastar?
No, I think there'll be no trade. I think the Mavs take him, and I think it's the right thing for the kid. But I just think but I think when you look at Cooper Flag, look at where he's at today. It's a really that's the guy like AD and Lively and also playing.
And white shoes, so
he's back.
not
I think it helps. He's #1, and we supposed to put so much expectation
like the other guys do.
And that's not really.
Hey, look, that's me.
This allows him to develop a real timeline. He gets to play through mistakes without
I'm the blue team. I'm the yellow team.
That's not realistic, especially because to wins. And so I think this would be a great environment. But I'm not saying that it would be Utah, but San Antonio and Brooklyn. And I know you think #1, you think the guy right for it. But it's okay to develop into the guy. But there's nothing wrong with developing into the guy. So I think this will be good.
It wasn't playing games. I think it was fine. But this team is good. They got great pieces. They were obviously injured for a large portion of the back half of the season. Both the Luka trade what could possibly be, especially with Cooper Flag coming in. For us, we don't really know the ins and outs of the salary. So, like, a rookie deal is obviously much more feasible than a veteran. So when you get a rookie contract into your room, especially at a key position, like quarterback or something in the NFL, you want to do that. In the NBA,
help me for my super gun.
Just to contract,
oh my God, so much
from a play perspective, so that's why you don't trade.
I'm not fine.
Trading, you hope to have a
hey, wait, I'm not fine.
Being paid what's being paid on the #1 money is a lot different than super max players' money. And so you get production number 5 and the pay potentially more than what money would be if you had super max guy come in. That really helps push the team for the flexibility moving forward and that nature. So once you start getting to the first 8 minutes, it just makes things too difficult. So this is why, to me, as well as just who Uber could become, I think you keep the pick. I think Dallas will keep the pick, and I think it'll for both sides.
It's exciting to watch Cooper Flag develop. And in football, we say, you know, if you're in a good situation, you already got a massive head start. Cooper Flag going to a team that could have made the playoffs, especially if they were healthy. Massive head start for his career. Good luck down in Dallas, and congrats to the Mavericks fans, man. Yeah. Congrats, that was a tough one. And congrats to your guy, Nico, too. You said good things happen to good people. A lot of people weren't saying that about Nico just a few months ago. And then now, all of a sudden, back on top of the world. You mentioned the San Antonio Spurs. AP Tonis, question for you.
Yeah, you did, Rich. And a lot of people think they got the number 2 pick now, so that gives them a ton of ammo to potentially go make a big move. Obviously, they have the last 2 rookies of the year in Wemby and Castle. They trade for De'Aaron Fox. Do you think with that number 2 overall pick, they could use that to go get someone big, or they just keep loading up on young stars for the future?
Yeah, I mean, look, they could package 2 at 14 and then get something. They could draft 2 and do something at 14. They have a lot of options here. But it gets what they need. I think they're the type of team that you see draft. They hit it pretty well over the years. the castle, obviously Wemby, beating guys like Devin Vassell. They have young guys like a Kevin Johnson. So they have a good young core, and then when you add De'Aaron to that, you know, again, it's San Antonio, so it wouldn't surprise me. They're going to be very strategic about it. They're going to be patient about it.
He's not Kawhi.
And when they do things, they do it with intent and purpose. And so I imagine that they look at this draft and try to look at age, timeline, production, the ability to develop, and make the best choice for the organization going forward. They won't make a long-term choice, for sure.
There's so many storylines at the top there. Like if the Sixers get the number one overall pick, everybody would say it was rigged for the Sixers. If the San Antonio Spurs would have got it, everybody would have said it was rigged for the San Antonio Spurs for Wemby and Cooper Flag. I mean, if the Utah Jazz would have got it, there's no storylines. It's just Utah Jazz stuck last year, and they kind of got it. So I think we could have made conspiracies out of everything. The fact that 1.8% got it, and they were a play-in team, wild to think about the possibilities. Good luck to all the teams finding what their potential home is. Now, with that being said, Giannis is a massive piece of this. That is why people were thinking the Dallas Mavericks, maybe trade the number one pick, get Giannis in there. And if you have Giannis, AD, Kyrie, Clay, what type of team do you have in Dallas all of a sudden? It's an expensive one, but let's talk about the Giannis situation. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Rich, with all that happening, where do you think the most likely landing spot is for Giannis now? The sportsbooks still have Milwaukee as the favorite, but it's come out that he'd be interested in playing in a no-income tax state. I think that's why a lot of people maybe made connections, with the Mavericks. But considering everything that happened last night and kind of what we've heard so far, what do you think the most likely landing spot for Giannis is?
That's a good question. I think he's definitely, if what's being reported is true, he's hoping to go to look at things. I think you have to partner with Giannis, given the fact that he did a championship there, signing extensions. Part of it would be, hey, we get you somewhere to go. They're likely spots. I mean, it depends, right? You're Giannis, he's 30, he has 3 years left on his deal, playing off, he's 62-8. He already won the championship, so do you want to go to a team in which you can now build something that's tailor-made for you? I imagine he wants to stay east, and then he's, depending on what timeline he's on, the type of patience that he has. And in that case, then you can look at him staying right there, if he has the patience to allow them to kind of regroup or readjust here. So, target, I want to play basketball guys, but there's several teams out there that he could be traded to, an asset that can come back. I think he would work with the Bucks to try to help them at least get some talent back. But then that team also has to have enough to move forward on a 2-year timeline. I imagine to be really competitive. And so you look at teams like the Nets. Obviously, they have the picks from Phoenix and the trade. Phoenix and also the Knicks. You look at Toronto, who has young assets, big market. He would be huge there, obviously. And you have to believe in guys like Masai, Bob Webster. And then there's teams, what do you do? I know it's San Antonio, I know there's Houston. I don't know from San Antonio's perspective, age-wise and roster-wise, does it make sense? Maybe, maybe not. I know people think Dallas. I just don't think they can do it, and so it's not as easy as people think. When you have big names, you think, they can just go anywhere and anything can be done. There's a lot of complications to these things, and so we'll see how it goes. It's exciting for the league, though, and the one thing I will say is Giannis has done all he's been asked to do, and so if he wants to leave, great. And I think the Bucks have done right by him, and so I don't think anyone would be at fault. It's just business.
Yeah, it just didn't work out, right? It just didn't work out. Maybe a new home, a nice, fresh beginning, maybe the Bucks are able to get some assets. I love the fact you said I don't want to play fantasy basketball because that's what we just assume you do.
Yeah.
We assume you just do fantasy basketball all the time. Let's talk about current basketball taking place, the playoffs, obviously. D-Bot has a question for you, Rich.
Yes, sir. We're just talking about Giannis, the last two MVP finalists, Joker and SGA, haven't been playing their best basketball the last few games, but big game 5 in OKC tonight. Which team do you see bouncing back, and also which superstar do you see bouncing back? Kind of get back to
10 seconds until the match begins.
That's most.
Got a bunch of loose rolls and mix-ins like Oreo cookies or Pop-Tarts pieces. That's what Jesus. For the first week of trusting,
Oh man, it's a big game. Normally we got 2 game out of this whole series. They say that's what statistics show. I imagine OKC's at home. Ooh, it's a tough one. I do think SGA and Jokic play better than they have played the series. But this is why you have great teams. You have great depth. And I think their teammates have lifted them up. You've seen guys like Aaron Gordon make big plays. Russ has made big plays on both ends of the floor. And then you see guys who hadn't played like the Wiggins come in and make big shots. You know, Caruso, he does what he does best. As you know, he just affects the game in so many different ways that they're not showing on the stat sheet. And so, I don't know, it's tough to tell who wins tonight, but I do think the stars come out to play. It's been a great playoffs.
Yeah, I think it has been a great playoffs. You talk about the teams depth, not just the superstars playing their best. Can we chit-chat about LeBron saying on Mind the Game about how there's 8 other guys on the court and everybody attacking him? What do you think he meant by that? And how much is it such a team basketball thing whenever it gets to this stage of the playoffs? Because I think a couple stars can carry you through the regular season, and a couple stars can win you a lot of games. When you get to the playoffs, every team has guys. Every team has stars. Every team has depth. What do you think about what LeBron said and the reaction that came to what he said?
Well, I think anytime LeBron says something, it's always going to go viral. But it's always been a team thing. It's never been an individual thing. And if you look at the teams that won championships, those have been really great teams. You can't look at a team that has won and say, oh, they had one great player. And so he led them and they won the game or they won the series. That's always been very misleading. And it goes back to any of the GOAT conversations you want to have. You got to compare the GOAT with their teams and also their front office that help make the decisions to put the players around them. So I think, LeBron's going to always be criticized whatever he says. People don't look at it a certain way. But I think he's right. I think, people say, well, I'm just being biased, obviously, because that's my brother. But it's just, when you know basketball, you understand that you have to be able to go 8-9 deep. You have to be able to have flexibility and be able to change it in terms of matchups. Like, you look at this Cavs-Pacers series. I imagine, I'm looking at it, the Pacers have been benefiting from the Cavs not going small. I would start Evan at 5 and bring Hunter at 4. That way you can be able to match with the Pacers and that speed of the game. And that way, Jared Allen's not Xing out, trying to close out with guys like Siakam. They're getting off to great starts because it's very hard to
can we pause the game?
But if you can match that pace,
can I pause the game?
Game plan a little bit and start adding up 5 and put down to 100 for one that gives you another guy on the floor, a spacer, and then a guy on the defense. And so it may slow you down in that fast start. That could change the series. I mean, it happened with Iguodala when the Warriors, decided to go small with him and move David Lee to the bench that series. So you have to be a professional at these times to understand that things may change. And so that goes to have depth. You can't do that with just 2 stars. Everyone was so thankful about Luka and LeBron. I wasn't. I never thought that was just mean that they want to win a championship. Names don't win a championship. Rosters.
Yeah, very. I do appreciate that you're still an Ohio guy. Let's not be giving any tips for Cavaliers. Okay? Let's not be giving any tips.
I love Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle is a hell of a coach. He's been a hell of a coach everywhere he went. So it doesn't surprise me the chess match in that series. And that series, obviously, last game was just a blowout. But when you think about it, all these series are closer than you realize. Losing Steph, the Warriors just can't it's just hard. You can't plug somebody in to replace Steph Curry. That does not happen. You can't plug 3 people in to replace Steph Curry. So certain things you're not going to be able to get around. But even in the Knicks Boston series, I mean, you've seen the stat, Boston.
4.
The Knicks have only led 24 minutes in the entire series. They have 3
C, D, E,
24 minutes. They've led 24 minutes, 55 seconds to be exact. They've led in the entire series, and they're up 3-1. That's not stars. You get what I'm saying? And so, if you understand our game, and you really live this, you understand the importance. And people say that when the Knicks don't have any depth, they build a roster to compete against the team they're competing against. And so, I love the game. So I watch all these games intensely. But it's great. It's great for the league. I'm excited.
Hey, what is the next thing? What is there for?
New York.
The New York. What is the name of the basketball team?
Knicks.
No, there's a bigger name.
The bangers.
Well, you guys haven't seen me say it, so I'm not going to say it.
Okay to say it. From my understanding of the, I don't think I should be saying it.
I'm a little lost in the history there, but if you say I can say it, then that insinuates something totally different. So
yeah, I think that's what you get it.
I'm at the back. Let me ask you. This I mean, someone has to go here.
No, this is just you say it quickly. A lot of people go, whoa. What was that?
I missed that.
Yeah. I'm gonna miss that too with my mouth for the rest of my life. That's what I learned last night. That is the New York Knicks.
Yep.
New York Knicks is their name, full name, and that's how it should be said. Great name.
Yeah. New York.
What's it come from? Though? Like Knicks. I don't think that's full
Knicks. I mean, like I said, I've been here since
New York.
How about Bruce? What's the name of the Knicks?
The Knicks are named after the Knickerbocker Club in New York, which is like
New York.
settlers from New York Times, basically.
Okay. A little closer. I think he was a little bit too confident. I think that should have came out of his mouth right there. See, that's a little difference.
Yeah, that's a little strong.
Tyler has a question for you, Rick.
Yeah, you spread that news, Rich. But with everything you just said, one of the teams, that I guess was playing with just 2 stars and never got it done would be the Suns, where Kevin Durant is, and that's kind of exactly what the problem with those teams were, was they didn't have any depth, so that when they got to the playoffs, they kind of completely collapsed. And KD is one of those players this offseason with Giannis that is at that level of one of those stars, maybe a little older, but still at a supreme star level that's also on the block. How do you see that going with Phoenix? Because obviously it feels as though that conversation has been going on for a pretty long time with Ishbia and KD in the front office, where KD and them have kind of agreed that they will work together to get KD to a specific place. Do you think Giannis is kind of available for a place like that, and KD with Milwaukee? And then for you personally, on the agent side of things, when does this really start heating up? Like, we know the draft is pretty soon after the finals are over, but when for agents is it heating up? Is it now? Like, do you think Giannis's agent is making calls now, figuring stuff out with certain teams? Is it till after the season, or when is that going to happen with Giannis and some of the teams? And what about Kevin Durant and the Suns?
Well, I think the Kevin Durant Giannis piece is definitely a no-go. That doesn't work the timeline for the Bucks, and obviously Phoenix will love that. But I think Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. So we don't have to spend too much time there. We know who he is and what he brings to the table. It's just about cohesiveness, and sometimes you get to a place where you just don't have that balance amongst rosters. I think I talked about it, and everyone kind of went in uproar when I talked about the Miami Heat and what people thought was a big 3 and what I didn't think was a big 3. That wasn't a knock to Chris Bosh. That was actually tip of my hat and respect to Chris Bosh because of the sacrifice that he had to make to have cohesiveness to win championships. And so, in Giannis's case, though, from an agent perspective, yeah, I think you sit down with your client and really have the hard conversation with them. But you gotta understand, guys, most athletes don't like to be the bad guy. They don't like to make these types of decisions, and they don't like to fall out that come behind it. And so, it's not as easy as people think because no one wants to get the blame. I'm a very straightforward, very matter of fact guy. So it's time to go. It's time to go. And you don't have to be necessarily apologize about it. It's business. We've done great business, and it's time to move forward. How can we help each other? It's a conversation that needs to be had. Everyone does their job differently. Definitely different than me. I know that for a fact. So it's just one of those things. But I imagine Giannis has said what he really feels, and I think there's a world where you do this with the team that he's currently on and show them respect if that's what he really wants to do. And then the work starts now. Yeah, with the NBA Combine. So everyone's here. All the every team is here, and decision makers are here for the most part, except for the teams that are currently playing. And so there's a lot that can be done and can be talked about. And so these things take time, though. It's not as easy as, again, as people think. It could be something that draft day, could be later on. But just depends. Just depends.
Hey, so you're at Draft Combine. I think Shams is there, and he mentioned the same thing yesterday about how all the decision makers are there. Shout out to Shams, by the way. Shout out to Shams.
Just touchdown. The hardest working man in the business.
In your business, I like that. I respect that. In the basketball world, I think that
is in the basketball world.
Yeah, in the basketball world. And he's still so handsome too. I don't know how he pulls it off. Legitimately, he butchered a Dark Knight for
oh man, very bad.
Embarrassed his whole family, really. But whatever we talk about, what he does from a basketball standpoint, he mentioned that Draft Combine being a big mingle because we have like a tampering period here at the NFL Combine. Right when it comes to Indianapolis, all the agents are here and everything like that. I don't want to say that's what you're kind of saying this is right now, but now that the draft lottery is kind of set, now that everything's kind of in order, do we know everybody that wants to be on the move? Like we know KD, we know Giannis potentially, we know the Lakers are looking for a center. At this point, do we kind of know what everybody's looking for? And is that why this is such a good gathering of the minds in Chicago?
Where the heck is my
We are the pros that know AC services inside and out. From professional grade parts to complete system solutions, we have everything you need to keep your customers cool and comfortable mile after mile.
Yes and no. I think that, again, the players, we know which players want to be moved, but we don't know which team want to move players. And so that's why I think it's a disadvantage for players. It's like the dealer only showing one card. But ultimately, yes, this is where, look, you can have certain conversations, not tampering, it's just dialogue. And, it's really 20 hours of it. You're in the gyms, you are in the hotel lobbies, you're having the meetings and things of that nature. So,
do you just win that fast?
If there's a conversation to be had, it's a great time to have it. You can make the same argument for Summer League. Sometimes you can make the same argument for, Final Four. Sometimes, wherever you can get close to other decision makers, dialogue can be had for good perspective. So there's always. Combine is always a good place to be.
I can't wait to hear what comes from it. We appreciate you joining us. I can't wait to see what the internet says. What you said was outrageous today. Every time you come on, something you say just absolutely goes, which is why we appreciate the hell out of your perspective. And thank you for taking time out of your Draft Combine negotiation conversation time to chit-chat with us.
It's always great to come on, guys.
Who's winning it all this year?
Oh my gosh.
Oh. You know what? I said before on the show, there's so much parity, I cannot tell you the right now. I see the odds. I'm not a betting man. So that doesn't help me at all. But look, I think it's all about matchups. There's a world where you can see Minnesota totally get all the way there, and obviously OKC, they've been really good all year.
Going with
I
the
know
man.
what the series are on the Eastern Conference.
I'm gonna lose by my
I don't
freaking
think
self.
Indiana nor the Knicks think that those things are over to actually.
And what just happened to me?
So
Because
I don't know. It's just hard to tell. But again, it's an exciting time for our league when you have this type of parity and anybody could win. So we see the excitement that's in New York. I mean, they win a game and people out there till 3 in the morning, which is incredible. I think the Garden is the best arena at this time to be in. But we'll see. Whoever goes, I'll be there.
Shake hands, get some baby corn face.
At least for one game, I'll be there. That's something that I've done.
There's no
I don't know, for the last 15 years or so. I look forward to it.
Where's the heck is my team?
Get those nice fresh feel.
Wait. That?
Maybe get a couple of boards. Put up a 3. Yeah.
No, I don't run anything, man. I know that's perception bad, but that's not true. But I try to, I just try to do great business. That's all.
Well, K-Fan, because we think you run everything. We're going to continue to feel it that way. We appreciate the hell out of you. Ladies and gentlemen, Rich Paul, thank you, buddy.
I'm not chill.
You're listening to the Zach Lowe Show, sponsored by FanDuel. America's #1 sportsbook has made it easier than ever to get in on the action during an NBA playoff game. That's right now, even after tip-off. Just look for the live SGP tab on the FanDuel Sportsbook app and build your bet slip. Then sit back, relax, and track the outcome of your parlay right in the app. If you don't already have it, download FanDuel app today to make every moment more diverse. Gaming, please visit rg.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available. Listen to the end of the episode for additional details. Must be 21 and over in President Select States. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
I want to stay on it.
All right, welcome to a semi-emergency edition of the Zach Lowe Show, an all-time emotional swings wild night in the NBA Monday night. And I'm in Chicago. I was in the lottery room, rushed back after schmoozing with people to watch Celtics Knicks, and obviously that ended horribly for the Celtics. There's a lot to go through. Bill Simmons, I listened to a good chunk of your live reaction with Kyle Mann and Joe House last night, and then I had to tap out to watch the basketball games. But we don't know yet. It's 10:30 Central Time, 11:30 Eastern Time. There's been no official word. It doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good. I fear the worst case scenario, which not only will this season would probably torpedo next season, and obviously then I think that was a big motivator for them to break this no repeat streak that will now continue presumably in the NBA, and raises a lot of questions about looking at a financial crunch. Something on the gap here. You're ready for these conversations. He plays every game. He got hurt, but he was having one of the greatest games in his career. Pretty much on par with Game 6 in Milwaukee to save their season in 2022. Game 7, 50 whatever against Philly in a blowout. That's how good he was. And it's just, what can you say? The guy plays every game, plays hard, he plays back ends, he's a dog player. It's just, this is what it is. It really sucks. This sucks.
Yeah, that was the. That was the best two-way game I think I'd ever seen him play until the point he got hurt. Yeah, I woke up at 5:30 this morning, checked the phone to see if there was any news. We still don't know. 9% sure it's a torn Achilles. So that's definitely the vibes coming out. they lost the game before it happened. You know, and I mean, that's a whole separate